Welcome to Aiko Movie Explain. Today discuss the movie Detective Conan, one-eyed flashback point 10 months ago at Yatsugatake mountain range, during the pursuit of Mikuriya Sadakuni, a suspect in the gun store robbery case 8 years ago who disappeared while on parole. Inspector Yamato Kansuki of Nagano Prefectural Police was shot near his left eye. He found himself trapped in an avalanche, but was eventually saved, although he suffered a left eye injury and had no recollection of the event. In the present day, Yamato and Detective Yui Yuhara were assigned to investigate a break-in at the Nobiyama Radio Observatory. While on his road trip, Kogoro received a call from his former colleague, Koji Samatani, who was also a police officer. The two conversed about the avalanche incident and the pursuit by Kansuki, and Samatani expressed a desire to meet Kogoro face-to-face. However, at the meeting point, Samatani was fatally shot. Unable to move on from the loss of his friend, Kogoro joined Detective Soto and Tokogi to Nagano to continue their search for more clues. At Nagano, Kogoro, Soto, and Tokogi met with Kansuki, Yui, Inspector Takaroki Morofushi and Detective Hayashi Atsunobu from Yamanashi Prefectural Police. They also met Izo Funakubo, a father of Moki Funakubo, former biathlete who committed suicide following the injuries suffered by the gun shop robbery incident. The police discovered that Samatani had earlier visited Sadakuni, who was imprisoned as a result of the plea bargain the police made with Takashi Washizu, another suspect of the robbery case. Washizu was released from prison but fled. Having noticed the involvement of Yu Yokizami, assistant inspector from Public Security Bureau, and the bug planted with him, Conan, who went to Nagano with Ran, asked Rei Furuya for guidance with the investigation and deduced that this case must have involved PSB officer acting undercover in various agencies, and that Hayashi is also an undercover agent for the PSB. The same night, while driving to the site of shooting incident, Yui and Kansuki were ambushed, but the culprit was forced to retreat thanks to the effort of Mitsuhiko, Genta, and Ran. Yui, Kansuki, and Morofushi took shelter at the nearby charcoal burner hut of Takashi Otomo, while other personnel were deployed to search the mountain range under supervision of Rikuo Hasebi, prosecutor of Tokyo District Prosecution Office, who went to Nagano to personally investigate the matter. Nevertheless, the perpetrator is absent. The next morning, while descending the mountain, the Nagano police was ambushed again. Morofushi, in an attempt to push Kansuki out of the culprit's sight, plunged into freezing water but was later rescued. Conan and his fellow officers sought refuge in Otomo's hut, only to find out that the perpetrator had planned to utilize the device in the hut to trigger an avalanche and bury them. Conan and most of the officers managed to take shelter after generating avalanche from other direction to counter the first avalanche. But Kansuki was apparently unable to take shelter in time, and it was reported that he is dead. At night, Conan shared some information that suggests that Takashi Otomo is actually Takashi Washizu, the person who escaped from the robbery that caused Moki's death. At the Nobiyama Observatory, it is also disclosed that the perpetrator of the shooting incident is Detective Hayashi. Hayashi is the lover of Moki who resents Mikuriya and Takashi for causing the death of Moki, and that he opposed the passing of law that will strengthen the plea bargain procedure. Having heard that Samatani, another undercover PSB agent, seeks to reopen the case involving Kansuki to support the deliberation of the law, Hayashi killed Samatani and tried to murder Kansuki before Kansuki can regain information that could incriminate him. Furthermore, Hayashi also utilized the antenna of the observatory to intercept military intelligence from satellites and utilize the information to compel the Japanese government to halt the discussion of the law. Hasebi disclosed that he is a high-ranking official at the Cabinet's Satellite Intelligence Center and played a role in the investigation. It was also disclosed that Yamato's death was staged with the help of Kazami to ensure his safety. Hayashi made an attempt to flee, but the combined efforts of Haibara, Professor Yutaka Oki at the observatory, Conan, Kogoro, and the police enabled him to be apprehended. In the concluding scene, Furuya appeared before Hayashi and presented him with a proposition: a reduced sentence from death to life imprisonment in exchange for keeping the involvement of the PSB a secret. Hayashi is filled with anger, but also realizes that if he decides to expose the PSB, His relationship with Moki as her lover will be exposed, and the public's opinion of both Moki and Enzo will drastically decline. The Nagano police had a meeting at the hospital, where Yui mentioned that Conan had informed her that Kansuki is still alive. Morofushi thought that Conan was being thoughtful towards Yui, and while Kansuki criticized Yui for overreacting to the loss of a colleague, Yui responded that the reaction may be beyond the scope of their working relationship. You've been watching the Eiko Movie Explain. Don't forget like, share, and subscribe my channel for more explanation videos.